What's going on, Tywin here, bringing you an Infinity Blade story talk about Siris and some of the new stuff we learned in Infinity Blade Redemption and what we kind of already knew from the first two games and the first book. So, as most of you know, Siris used to be known as Alsar in Infinity Blade Awakening and in Infinity Blade 1. He does not realize he is deathless. He is just, as far as he knows, a mortal sacrificed to the God King. And he must go defeat the God King or be defeated. He ends up, as you know, defeating the God King. And then throughout the plot of Infinity Blade Awakening, teams up with Issa, who then, towards the end of Infinity Blade Awakening, right before the God King is about to kill Siris with the Infinity Blade, Issa kills him because she is pretty sure that he is deathless. And of course, that is true, because at the end of Infinity Blade Awakening, you wake up, or Siris wakes up in a rebirthing chamber, realizes that he is deathless. And in Infinity Blade 2, if you haven't read it in Awakening, it also reveals that he is deathless. And it was always him, rebirthing and being reborn as a child to fight the God King in Infinity Blade 1. And in Infinity Blade 2, he accepts that he's deathless and Tell, his little robot sidekick, retrieves his body every time he dies so he can be rebirthed into the same body and continue to try and free the Worker of Secrets. Now, we don't know a lot besides that, we don't know a lot about Alsar's past. There is some speculation that if you read Infinity Blade Redemption, that he may be Uriel, which is another name for one of the archangels. And in some mythology, Uriel, kind of fits the unpredictable nature of Alsar and / Siris. The Worker of Secrets cannot predict Alsar's movements. He's the only deathless that seems to be not well known to the Worker of Secrets. In Infinity Blade Redemption, he calls Alsar an anomaly, says that he knew he'd betray him, but just not how and when. And that is how Alsar was able to trap him for 1,000 years in the Soul Cell. This fits with the character of Uriel, who in Infinity Blade Redemption does act unpredictable and surprise the Worker of Secrets, aka Mr. Galeth. But I'm not convinced that Uriel is in fact Alsar / Siris, but names are important in the Infinity Blade universe, so it's not too far-fetched, because Alsar, Siris, Alsar is another name on the Egyptian god Osiris, and Siris is, of course, a variation on Osiris. Osiris had two sons, one of which is Helios, and as you know, Raedriar, the God King, uses the Helio armor. Helios is the sun god, so there are some clues that hint that possibly Alsar is Uriel, is the father of Jory, who, if you watch my Raedriar story talk, Jory is the God King. It was his human name before the Age of the Deathless and before all this went down. Other than that, we don't really know anything about Siris. We know that for some reason he wiped his memory was wiped, and he kept rebirthing as a child. Now he, however, rebirths as a teenager, around 18 years old, in peak physical condition. We do know for a fact that he's the only deathless that seems to scare the Worker of Secrets. He is the only deathless that the Worker of Secrets cannot predict. He has been wrong about him in the past. If he is Uriel, Mr. Galeth, aka the Worker of Secrets, was wrong about him in modern times, before the Age of the Deathless. He was also wrong about him when Alsar was able to betray him and capture him in the soul cell at his compound that we see in Infinity Blade 2. He also miscalculates that in Infinity Blade Redemption, the worker, his calculation and his assumption is that Siris has created a deathless army. But as if you read the book, he didn't quite get to that point. But the worker of secrets already assumed that Siris had a deathless army that was about to come after him, which is partly why he wanted to cleanse the world, because he was convinced that everyone was deathless, which Radriar found out that the worker thought that. It was just more evidence that the worker does not know everything, and he knows very little about Alsar. So the worker is afraid of Alsar. Alsar seems to be the only one who can defeat the worker of secrets, which makes sense as he is the main character of all the games that we play. So he is, quote, the one, unquote. He's going to be the one that is going to be able to defeat the worker of secrets. Maybe not kill him, but maybe incapacitate him and be able to trap him again for some number of millennia. Because when you read Infinity Blade Redemption, the worker of secrets cannot be killed by the Infinity Blade. Of course, he created the Infinity Blade, and there's two of them now, the Infinity Blades. He, of course, created them, so it only makes sense that he will not be able to die for them. Why would he create something that could kill him? But Alsar does have a secret weapon potentially that we will find out about in Infinity Blade 3. Radriar, right before his death, sent a data pod out to Siris, for Siris to find, that shows the worker's plans and how to defeat him. So, besides what I already told you, we don't really know anything more about Siris. He's as mysterious to us as he is to the worker of secrets. We know his past life as Siris and the sacrifice, which is a fabricated past. We don't know who he was before he was deathless or how he became deathless. It is speculated on the Infinity Blade forums that perhaps he made himself deathless unbeknownst to the worker by reverse engineering the worker's inventions and creating his own way to become deathless, which would kind of fit into the speculation that maybe he is Uriel, and maybe during the apocalyptic event that destroyed the earth to bring about the age of the deathless and the age of the God King and everything, maybe he found a way to make himself immortal before all that or during all that, and then went into hiding. But either way, it seems that the worker does not have full knowledge of Alsar like he does of the other deathless, and it's pretty strong evidence that the worker did not create Alsar. The worker claims to have created all life as we know it in this timeline, but I would venture a guess all life does not include Alsar/Siris, because the worker does not seem to have the same intimate knowledge of him as he does of Radriar and the other deathless. So hopefully in Infinity Blade 3 we find out a little more about who Siris is and why the worker can't anticipate his moves, but at least if we don't find out in Infinity Blade 3, maybe they'll make another novella, although it probably won't be written by Brandon Sanderson, as he wrote in his blog that this Infinity Blade Redemption was his final novella for Infinity Blade. But he has helped craft the story, so the story that they have planned out was helped along by Brandon Sanderson. So even if he doesn't write further books, he did have a hand in the story, and whoever takes over the next books or media, whatever they happen to be, comics maybe, it will still keep in line with the plot that they already created. So hope you enjoyed this story talk. Let me know in the comment section if there's anything that I missed or anything that you think is important. And until next time, this is Tywin. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe for great iOS gaming content and to follow me on Twitter.